always said that, so if I have cancer, and I'm just going to be honest, I have had cancer and I have gone through chemotherapy, and when I went through chemotherapy, somebody sent me some joints in the mail, and I got to tell you that I was so horribly sick. And when I smoked, and I got that Marinol stuff, and that didn't do anything. And when I did smoke the joints, and it was in a place where I didn't have access, somebody I worked with sent it to me, and it gave me relief. But if it comes back, and I have to go through chemotherapy again, where would my doctor be able to give me marijuana right now?
Not the low-grade marijuana.
Not the Charlotte's Web.
You would have to ask your physician if they had taken the course and if they were registered. Who knows? You would have to ask your physician.
Okay, so
and a lot of
you
physicians
could get
don't.
you could get a marijuana oil or extract with basically no THC that would have almost none of the palliative qualities of the marijuana that you smoke.
Okay, so I wouldn't really be able to get
Probably not.
No.
the help that I got last time.
Unless not one but two doctors had diagnosed you to be 12 months or less terminal.
Yeah.
Now, do you
I'd
think
have
it's
to be
better for
terminal?
somebody? Now, for somebody that was in her position, do you think it would be better for her to take, let's say, OxyContin or something that's very strong?
Well, we're comparing apples and oranges, but again, we go back to your original question of I thought I heard you say that no one would take issue with it. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think anyone would take issue with that. And none of it, that's the problem
But
with
it's
it. This
not
is so,
able
but
for
it,
people now.
well,
or
that's what they don't
available.
want you to know is that it is able and it has been under different laws that we have here. The issue is too is no one would
Is that
argue.
true?
No, absolutely
Well,
not.
of course he's gonna
And
say
listen,
it's not.
Giselle, by the way, can speak personally to what is going on currently because her son is a patient.
Yeah,
Okay.
my son has Dravet syndrome, which is what Charlotte has. Now, I had to get my license in California. I went to get my medical card. I had to move there for a couple of months with a friend just to get this. I was put on a waiting list. When I finally was able to get it, it didn't work for him because it was just the high CBD. Now, my son was taking one of the medications FDA approved, and that caused him drug-induced lupus, which was supposed to help him with seizures, but instead it was giving him lupus, so the doctor took him off of it right away. The next day, my son's having 300 seizures a day. I became desperate. I took off to California. I started giving him high THC. And that was the only thing that I found relief with to stop those 300 seizures.
How many seizures does he have now?
He will have maybe 5 a week, but not grand mals. Like he'll have little ones, but this
And are
was-
you able to give him this marijuana
No.
in Florida?
I was not. I came back, I spoke with my doctor. My doctor prescribed Marinol. By giving him Marinol, he was just agitated, constantly crying. He wouldn't stop, and I told him I can't give him this. I have to go back to the oil. Then he put him in a study. So the study was sort of helping. But I had to find ways to go back to California and stay there with him again and start giving him THC as opposed to giving him Diastat every time he had a seizure. Now, the law that was passed here is the high CBD, low THC. I went to, when it first opened, I went to the grow house. The oil, I will have to find a doctor. My doctor recommends medical marijuana for my son. He saw the changes, but he hasn't taken the course. He cannot take the course right now because he hasn't been able to. But why would I spend extra money buying an oil that I already know I tried it on my son and it didn't work, when I know that higher THC will work for him? My doctor also prescribed another non-FDA approved drug, which is a veterinarian drug. So it's okay for him to take a veterinarian drug, which is non-FDA, but it's not okay for him to take cannabis, which we saw personally how it was helping him.
So you have to go back and forth to California and spend time in California in order to
Yes.
get this thing
Yes,
that helps your
yes,
son.
yes.
Clarence, what would you say? to
I'd
him?
say I feel I have a lot of empathy and concern for you and your son, but when you take a look at this, at the real language here, about other conditions, it's like the old pill mills we had in Florida. It's whatever the doctor that you go to thinks is debilitating to you. And you've got a group of doctors in other states, about 10% of them out of the total population making a lot of money giving out these recommendations. This is why the Obama administration said about 3-4 weeks ago, no, we're not going to take marijuana off the Schedule 1 list because, number one, there's no accepted medical use. The drug chemistry is not known. There's no adequate safety studies, and there are no adequate and well-controlled studies providing efficacy. The drug is not accepted by qualified experts, and the scientific evidence is not widely available. It kind of perpetuates a fraud on people because marijuana is illegal in the state of Florida in terms of the federal law. And this amendment is very careful. It says, hey, this does not make you immune from any other federal law. The other point is, I understand there are children like your child who have these situations. But here's one of the big dangers of this law, if it became a law, is where it talks about food. You put this in the food, like you probably, for your son, would want to give him gummies or something like that.
I actually just give him oil.
Oil.
Yeah.
But the point is, over 4,000 children in the last year have been reported to the poison control centers because they're getting a hold of, by accident, it's in the pantry, these little brownies that are infused with marijuana, or the gummies that look like real candy. It's very, very dangerous. And that's why in the state of Colorado and the state of Washington right now, they're writing regulations to ban any use of marijuana in edibles that look like things that kids would be attracted to.
But
And
we
it's totally
still
out of
have
control.
FDA approved that look like gummies, and kids are attracted to it. And I believe it's the parents' responsibility, because my pantry, I have a lot of medication that my daughter could take, and she will end up in the hospital. She takes my son's clonazepam.
That's
It's
right.
disintegrating. So it's up to me to keep that away from her, to teach her. So I keep it in a safe place so nobody takes my son's medication, whether it's oil, whether it's FDA approved, because I don't want my son or my daughter reaching out to that and getting poisoned with
Well, you-
that. And I know, I even had a friend, she takes clonazepam. It's a great example. She came
What is
over.
clonazepam?
It's a benzo, and it's for seizures, and a lot of adults use it for anxiety, to help with sleep. So my friend was addicted to those. She came over my house. She was taking her Xanax. She was drinking a beer. What did I do? I became scared. So what did I do with my clonazepam? I had to hide it so she wouldn't reach out for it, because she was staying over for the weekend, and I'm like, this is my son's medication. I don't need her reaching out to his meds, because she knows I had it. So I had to hide it from her too, and this is an adult.
Well, you're a responsible parent, but what is happening, as they said by some investigator, the drug investigators in Colorado were saying, it's not the responsible parents we're worried about. For example, they say, you have little kids that accidentally get into this stuff, they don't know any better, or you might have a babysitter who innocently gives it to a kid, or you have friends. Well, the babysitter wouldn't know that this brownie in the cabinet is full of marijuana. So that's where all these dangers come. And we're not talking about good parents like you. It's the others who are
They're
good.
usually labeled too. Every edible, because when I was in Colorado,
In a
when I
bag.
was in California, edibles were labeled. And it says, contains certain amount of THC, do not dispose to children. So
And at the quinceañera a couple of weeks ago in California, it was a bowl full of gummies that nobody knows where it came from, and I'm sure it was in a bag that was labeled, but it now is in a bowl, and there's 19 people in the hospital that have no idea
but
that
the
they
same
ingested
as
this.
happens with the medications with pills.
The notion,
Like,
So
there-
then make sure
the
there is
notion that
no
you should
limit.
oppose a law because people will break the law or because people are irresponsible is just silly.
But the
I
fact
mean,
that you
that's-
know that
then you
people
can
are
use-
irresponsible,
You can use that
Question.
same logic to oppose essentially any law.
you should have written it in your amendment. There's no word maximum on
But
an
it's not
amendment.
the
You
same
should have
thing.
put
murder
that in
shouldn't
there.
be illegal because people are going to kill people.
We have
anyway,
alcohol.
So
What
why-
about
what's the point of
root
alcohol.
beers? Alcoholic root beers that are in fridges. I mean, those are legal. They look just like root beer, hard lemonade.
And so do the cannabis.
Right, but I'm saying
Liquids as well.
those are legal. I've never heard of talk of making those illegal.
They're already legal. Marijuana is not.
So you're saying that alcohol, though, that shouldn't be legal.
So we're going to
The pony
punish
is
the
already out of the
patients
stable.
because of people's responsibility.
Well, when
I
you
don't
get-
think my son should be punished.
No, you go
and be
back to the
put-
drawing board and make sure that those people are protected.
Exclude it from
So it
food.
should be the same for the FDA-approved medications and for alcohol as well then.
Which, by the way, the veterinarian medications are FDA because it's the same
It's not
medications that
FDA.
humans get.
I have to
know,
pay
it's
for
the
it
same
because it's
thing.
not FDA approved. It's a veterinarian drug that my doctor prescribed, but I have to go and pay for it
Because it's
not
off-label,
FDA.
because it's for
Oil
veterinary
is taking
proof
dog
for use, but it is
tranquilizers, but
FDA.
marijuana oil is a step too far. That's the
And it's
position
shown
you're
that it
taking.
has helped him. It stopped. He's not having 300 seizures a day. My doctor tried every single drug available for Dravet syndrome. They haven't worked. So why is it not okay for him to take an oil that is helping him, that can save his life, I have to wait until he has 12 months to live to be able to obtain that THC oil for him. I don't think it's fair.
I think
I don't
Clarence
want my
made a
son
really good
having
point
12
that this
months.
is not about you and your son and your parenting, because clearly you are doing what you feel is best and what's right to protect the other children in your home. This issue is about what will happen to the other millions of people that we will be subjected to this, and protecting them and protecting the people in our state.
Here's what these look like. I don't, you probably can't see it, but a little 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kid grabs this and they can die.
Oxycontin